Hey, Drew James here from LearnGuitarInLondon.com. Great to have you with me today. So today what we're doing is we're talking about songwriting. We're talking about where you get your ideas from. We're talking about where you get lyrics from. We're talking about, I'm basically going to be giving you 6 tips to help you with your songwriting. So I can see the chat already. A few people have written a few things. Kangaroo Jack, Aurelia, Jack Greenwell. Please keep leaving comments, but it is really about songwriting. So if you do like to write songs and you found yourself kind of getting bored just playing the same songs that you've learned off by heart, then this is the chat for you. Hello Paul, good to have you with me as well. Great to see you guys. Once again, do let me know if the stream is freezing. I've adjusted my settings again. Hi Carolina, how you doing? So let's start with perhaps the most sort of fundamental, biggest tip that anyone ever gave me about songwriting. And when I first heard it, it made me think, no, that can't be right. Surely that doesn't work. Like, that's just stupid. So the biggest tip that anyone's ever given me is copy your idols. Okay. So when you get into songwriting, to have a good idea of like 1 or 2 acts or maybe a genre of music that you really like, you should be copying those guys. Now, what do I mean by copying them? First of all, I mean, obviously learning their songs. Learn how their songs are put together, learn the chords they use, learn the BPMs they use, learn maybe the lyrics that they use. And this is all going to subconsciously fuel your own songwriting ideas. So learn song after song of your idols over and over and over. And then when you start to songwrite, try this. Use the same chord progression that is in one of your idol's songs. So that could be 4 or 6 chords, but then write your own words over the top of that. Or go the other way. Use their words, write your own chords. But the important thing is, hello Sarah, I'm sure you should be working. It's all about songwriting today. Great to see you. So what you really want to be doing is you want to be writing out their lyrics. You want to be writing out their chords. And doing that over and over and over. Hi Bites, nice to have you with me. And doing that over and over and over, because what that will do is subconsciously fuel your own songwriting and also help you formulate your own ideas as a songwriter. So that's one of the biggest things that I can sort of impart on you. Copy your idols. Learn a few songs from your idols, and then when you go to do your own sort of songwriting, which we'll get into in a minute, their music will be subconsciously inside you and you'll be making music like them, which will make you enjoy it because they're your idols for a good reason. You should be doing your homework, Bites. Well, okay. I'm going to say, yeah, you should, but I'll be here as well. And Real Alex Stewart, hi, how you doing? By the way, feel free, guys, to leave comments about songwriting. If you've got any songwriting questions, perhaps you've half written a song and you want to share your lyrics and you want some help on those lyrics, or you want to know stuff about chord progressions, how to get the right chords with your songwriting. So let's start with this. This is a bit different, all right? And not many people have seen this at all. So you are very privileged. Hey, Howdy, how you doing? So before I became a full-time guitar teacher and became the Drew James that you know, in a previous life, I was in a band, in quite a heavy rock band, where the music was a bit shouty. I'm not selling it too well, but I'm actually really proud of this song. I wrote a demo with that band. I did an EP, I did an album, and I was doing the whole thing of writing music. I was the singer-songwriter of the band and producing it as well. So I was wearing a lot of hats: guitarist, songwriter, and singer. So I've been down that path. So I'm sorry, I'm just checking up on the chats. Okay, so I've got a video of me doing a skydive. Now, bear in mind, this was 5 years ago. I used to drink a lot of beer and eat a lot of pies, so I'm a little bit bigger in this video. In fact, it was this video that made me think, come on, dude, lose some weight, crikey. So this is me doing a skydive on my 30th birthday, and the soundtrack in the background is a song that I wrote with my band called Mind Games. I'll put it in the chat now. There you go and check it out. You'll see that not many people have seen it, right? Have a listen to it. it's one of these songs that actually builds. It gets bigger and bigger, and it's quite distorted. Okay, thanks for letting me know about the stream, Paul. That's good to know. So someone's asked a question about you, Stappard. You've asked about, do you know the four-chord theory? So I'll get to that in just a second. I'll just take a note of that because I would like to answer that. So anyway, going back to that video, if you watch that video that I've just put in there, you'll hear that that was the sort of music I was writing. It was quite angsty, but I'm quite proud of it. I think it's well produced and it sounds nice. And I was copying my idols in a way. Admittedly, the people that I was in the band with were having quite an influence on my own songwriting. I ended up becoming quite acoustic after that sort of music. But back then I was very influenced by sort of Foo Fighters, Tool, Snow Patrol, sort of groups along those lines. So slightly sort of heavier rock. So hopefully you're having a look at that and having a listen and seeing what you think. Okay, Sarah, that's a good question as well. Thank you, Sarah. Cool. Anything like that, that's really good. So song bigger. All right, cool. So I started learning guitar to write songs, and I think that's a really good way because it keeps us inspired and it keeps us motivated as we move on with our journey with playing the guitar. So let's start answering some questions now. So Eustabe said, do you know the four-chord theory? Eustabe, I think what you mean by that is you mean what's known as the harmonic theory of the major scale. So that means you do the root, the fourth, the fifth, and then you can have the major sixth as well. So there's a very famous video called Access by Axis of Awesome called Four-chord, and that is basically what Eustabe is, I think, is talking about. So if I just find the link to that so you can have a look at that. Here we go. Let's just close those down in case it's slowing things down. So if you have a look at that, you'll see that this band have said, right, you know what, there's all these really famous songs that have become massive hits, but they only actually use the same four chords. So I think this is what Eustabe is talking about. They only use the same four chords, and yet there's different lyrics over those chords. And it's legitimate songwriting. I think people can often get very hung up on chords when it comes to songwriting. Yes, chords are important, but you can't copyright a chord progression. Every chord progression you could possibly write out, pretty much, unless you're going into the hundreds of chords within a song, someone would have done before. So the thing that makes a song, and we're talking pop music here, the thing that makes the song a hit is the fact that the lyrics and the way it's sung and perhaps some of the instruments in the background have hooks in them. Hooks just basically means a catchy thing that you go away humming afterwards, okay? El Calzo, good to have you with me. Hello to you too. So don't get too hung up. You could use the same four chords that Axis of Awesome are using there. I think they're using G, B minor, C, and A minor, I think. You could use those and write your own song. And you'd absolutely, you know, you'd be absolutely fine with that. I think the thing is not to overcomplicate the choice of chords in the beginning. It doesn't add much to what you're doing, necessarily thinking, oh, it needs to be this really, really massive chord progression. So Sarah said, I'm struggling with making my song feel bigger. I always feel that mine are missing something. Sarah, it's a difficult question to answer, this one. So it very much depends. It could be how you're feeling about that particular song. You feel that it's missing something, but someone who might listen to it might go, actually, that's absolutely fine. So this is very, very subjective. If you feel that your songs are missing something, go back to what I said earlier. Excuse me. Go back to copying your idols. Copy your idols. Listen to your idols. Compare your song to your idol, and yeah, you're not going to be thinking, oh wow, that's awesome, that's just the same, because you're just starting out. Your idols have probably been writing songs for years before they had that big hit, okay? But compare it to them. Think, what are they doing that I'm not doing? Have they got better lyrics than me? Is the rhyming of their lyrics better? Is the way that their song goes from one bit to the next different to the way that mine does? Copy your idols, Sarah. So that's the best advice I can give you with that. Listen to those songs and enjoy them as well. Don't forget while you're learning. So thank you. Yeah, you're a singer and you're writing your own music. That's brilliant. Well done. And that's exactly how I started. I was a singer first and I picked up the guitar. So thank you very much. So let's go to the next thing that I want to talk about today, and that is structure. So when you're songwriting, you have bits of songs. If you listen to all good songs, they generally start with what's known as the verse. The verse is where you are setting your story, and it's usually just like the intro of the story. So for example, I'm thinking of leaving my house today and I'm looking outside and I'm seeing that it's raining. So it's sort of setting the picture. That would be your verse. Obviously, your words would be rhyming. Then, depending on the song, you would have something called a pre-chorus. A pre-chorus is obviously something that comes before the chorus, and the pre-chorus sets the mood a little more for what the overall idea of the song's going to be. So the pre-chorus might say something like, okay, so the verse was, I'm going to leave the house today, oh, but it's raining. So the pre-chorus might be something on the lines of, but I can't find my umbrella and I'm going to get really, really wet. So setting an idea of, and this is a rubbish story, by the way, I'm sure you guys could write better than this, but adding tension to the story, adding intrigue, okay? And then the chorus summarizing the big idea. The big idea would be, now I'm outside, I'm getting wet, but actually I don't mind getting wet. It reminds me of blah, 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 and I feel liberated, and why should I have found my umbrella? So the chorus is generally the biggest message of the song. So sometimes when you're writing a song, you might come up with the chorus first. That might be your favorite bit or the idea of the song. And when I talk about an idea, I'm talking about something. So for example, a very simple idea like James Blunt's You're Beautiful. He's writing a song about a girl that he saw that he can't have, and he's in love with her. He finds her beautiful, right? That is a simple song idea. It's been done to death, but he made it his own with catchy hooks. And by the way, not a very original chord progression. So that's a good example of how you have a very good idea, and that idea, usually all the greatest songwriters, that usually comes from something, an experience that they've been through. So delving a little bit deeper into who you are, into your past, usually those ideas come to the surface when you start songwriting. So, you know, it's really, really fascinating, right? Songwriting in general. It's a really explorative task. Okay. Anyway, so coming up with that chorus idea with traditional songwriting, that is the biggest challenge when it comes to coming up with ideas. Sarah, if you want to send me some lyrics, then by all means, if you feel comfortable with it, you can put it in the chat. That's absolutely up to you. Or you can email it to me. If you go to the contact form of my website, learnguitarinlondon.com, you can email it to me there as well. So so let's look at some songs just out of the blue that have great chorus ideas. Let's look at some absolute classics that have stood the test of time. So let's start with Let It Be by the Beatles. So Let It Be, just saying those words, Let It Be, rolls off the tongue, doesn't it? It sounds very nice. It's got good alliteration. The message of that song is exceedingly powerful and something that I subscribe to daily. So the message of the song simply is saying, be at peace with all that is happening and aim to find the light in anything that is happening. Okay, so what a powerful message for a song to sit down and think, right, that's what I'm going to do. Where am I getting my lyrics from? Okay, let it be. Right, okay, that sort of really simplifies how I'm feeling about this moment. And you look at the verses. When I find myself in times of trouble, Mother Mary comes to me, okay, or Mother Mary talks to me. So he's setting the picture, saying I'm in trouble, and you're intrigued as a listener. What trouble is that you're in, Paul McCartney? And then he goes into more detail. When I find myself in times of trouble, Mother Mary comes to me, speaking words of wisdom, led at a darker place. Oh, you're back. Sorry, I just had a little cut out there. So what I was talking about there is, think how powerful and world connecting that message is of Let It Be. right? It's that power of songwriting that inspires people to listen to your music and to dig your music. Now, I'm not saying every song you write is going to be that powerful. Let's face it, when you start writing songs, they're gonna be rubbish. Think of the first time you did a chord. It was rubbish. The first thing that you learned on the guitar, it was probably rubbish looking back. And it's the same with songwriting. I'm going to get your questions in just a second, guys. Thank you for still sort of sending things there. So let's now talk about perhaps one of the most important things that I'm going to summarize on all the points on songwriting. And hopefully I've inspired you to go and start writing your own songs. So the final point here is write every day. Some people carry a notebook around and they write a lyric down every day, or they write how they're feeling down, even just like a little diary or a journal, but it still helps with writing. You write every day, be that with a guitar. When I was in the heights of my songwriting, I was picking it up and being disciplined and trying to write for 2 hours every day. Just sitting there with a guitar, maybe polishing up a song that I wrote the day before or creating a new idea. But if you write every day, you will get better. All of the greatest songwriters, all of your idols, subscribe to that idea. I almost guarantee it, unless they've had songwriters write their songs for them. But those songwriters that wrote the songs for them, they would have done the same thing. But it's quite a commitment, isn't it, to write songs every day? And you've got to have faith in yourself. There's no guarantee, especially if you're going to thinking of doing it professionally, that you're going to have that hit. And that's where you just have to enjoy it and have some faith. So write one song every day, or each day come back to the song that you wrote the previous day and think, right, what does that sound like now? Now I've let that sit and I've slept on it for a little bit. And maybe move things around. Think, right, maybe that's my chorus. Put the verse the other way around. And start to do what's known as the craft of songwriting, which is where the structure comes in, where you start thinking, is that lyric as good as it could be? Could I look up a thesaurus and try to find a better way of putting that phrase? Okay, so write every day. That's the biggest advice. Excuse me. So let's go through the main ideas that we've talked about so far. Number one, copy your idols. Learn their songs. Learn the way that they are on stage, especially if you want to be a performing singer-songwriter. Play their songs. Rewrite their songs out in tab or rewrite out their lyrics. Do that every day as part of your song study, because what that will do is it will fuel your motivation. It will fuel your subconscious thought on how you come up with your own songwriting ideas. Okay? All right, Sarah, fair enough. Take care. I'll see you soon. I know you've got to do some work. Okay, cool. I'll be here next Friday for another chat with the same live. Thanks. Next, the next tip is this. Don't get too caught up on structure, okay? Don't get too caught up on chords, on trying to reinvent the wheel with chords. I must admit, I haven't really given you many ideas for chords, but looking at the chords in the key of C, which is C, G, D, A minor, D minor actually, F, all of those chords can be used to create songs, and they have been done for ages and ages and ages, and for many years. Okay, so don't get too caught up on trying to reinvent the wheel with chords and your music. Maybe think, how can I use the same chords but perhaps down tune my guitar to make it sound different, or put a capo higher up on the neck to make that sound different, or change my rhythm, go from fingerstyle to strumming. Lots of ideas that you could do there. Next, write songs every day. Write a song every day and you will get better at songwriting. So just sit down, be disciplined, say, right, I'm just going to pour out, I'm going to sing a melody, I'm going to come up with something off the top of my head, and I'm then going to record that idea. So use your phone, record the idea, because otherwise you might lose it, especially if it's a really good idea and you might not even think it was good at the time, but you listen back to it. Let's look at your written notes when you were writing the lyrics, listen to your audio notes, and you are getting better. Okay, you are learning the craft of songwriting. I'm not going to say it's an easy task, but nothing worth doing is. So Miak, yes, there you go, I've said your name. Amanda, I've already written 2. Amanda, well done. Good. What were the titles of those songs, Amanda? Do you want to share those in the chat? Would that be cool? Be really good to hear them. Speaking of titles, some people carry notebooks just with song titles. They, for example, I had a title for a long time that actually one of my friends used as a song, which was Dawn is Darkening. It's a little bit morbid, but Dawn is Darkening. I was like, yeah, that'll make a really good title for a song. So anything that you hear like that you think that might be a good idea for a song, and it just gets you thinking in a creative way all the time. Okay, so Nika said, I have a problem. I write nice melodies, but I can't do lyrics. Nika, that's a that's a good question. So some people collaborate. So one person might be the melody writer. For example, I'm the same as you. I prefer in a way to come up with melodies than I do lyrics. But if you want to get better at both, the way to get better at lyrics is writing out your idol's lyrics. So whoever that might be, write out their lyrics, and that will then fuel your own motivation. Also, another thing I say about lyrics, especially with rhyming, is use rhymezone.com. That's a great website where you can put in the word that you're trying to rhyme with. It's really, really useful. And use a thesaurus as well, so not necessarily using the same words the whole time. What are... Okay, Aurelia, enjoy your bath, take care. So that's all good. Amanda hasn't shared that. So Amanda, so one of the titles of your songs is Days Past. That's good. Yeah, like that. So I presume that song is kind of reminiscing, thinking back to another time, and intrigue as well. You've already been quite intriguing with that title. What happened in those days past? And that's a big part of songwriting as well. It's about creating a story. Why do you think millions of people every day go to watch films at the cinema or watch films at home? Because they tell a story. Yes, okay, I know that there's big action films and what have you, and there's very formulaic films, but they're all doing the same thing. They're all telling a story. And good songwriting is the same as that. It has a powerful message in the chorus, and it has a lot of songwriting building up to that. So, and it's aerial, people call it. Okay, cool. So creating intrigue within your songwriting, that is really, really important. So don't give away the story too soon. So a lot of what I've talked about today is kind of rules, right? You've got to do this structure. You've got verse, chorus, and I do want to say this: once you've learnt the rules, it's okay to bend the rules and break them, because ultimately what people want to hear with songs is something they haven't heard before. Or even if they have heard it before, it's done in a way that's original. So for example, it could be the same chord progression, but the lyrics and the rhythm of the song perhaps is different, something they haven't heard before. So it's that combination of things. So let's say you've got a singer's voice that's very good that you've never heard before, who's got a chord progression or band behind him doing something very, let's say you have heard it before, but he's singing lyrics and the way his voice is pitched is original and sounds different. That's what makes people go, oh, that's so-and-so, that singer. Okay, do I have anything else that I want to say to you? So last thing, if you write songs every day, what will happen is the best songs will start to rise to the top over time. And as it rises to the top, the best songs will start to become very clear to you and to the people that perhaps you share them with. But the only way to find those best songs is to be writing all the time. And then the best songs will rise to the top. And they're the songs that perhaps you might want to share with someone, or depending on the level of your ambition, play them in an open mic night, or even pitch them to an artist and say, look, this is the song. I think you'll enjoy the song. What do you think? So write every day. Right? Now, I know that you guys know me for fingerstyle tutorials, and we've totally gone off on one here today about songwriting. It's not something I normally do. But what I've enjoyed about live streaming is I've enjoyed about doing things that I wouldn't normally. So I understand that I'm perhaps not quite what you know me for. So last week it was about looping. Really enjoyed that, about how to use a looper. If you haven't seen that, then it's on the channel right now. And just to let you know, just to get back on track with what it is that I actually do on YouTube, I'll be releasing my latest video, which I'll tell you what it is. It's He's a Pirate, the fingerstyle version, the theme from Pirates of the Caribbean. I'll be releasing that very soon, within the next half an hour. So it'd be great to have you there to watch that with me. All that's left for me to say is keep on playing. I really hope that's been useful. Take care and see you again soon.